Hello, this is a podcast called Gimme Empathy. I'm the host, Scott Mercer, and this is episode number 50. Very exciting. It's exciting. It's another number. It's a milestone. It's a number with a zero after it. It's halfway to 100. 100 would be exciting. But I thought I'd do something a little bit special. I went back to the very first guest I had in episode 1, my friend Ash Shanahan, who I played a few bands with, and recorded an episode with her again, because quite a few things have changed in Ash's life since we recorded that first episode about a year and a half ago, and I thought it'd be interesting to go back and check in. So currently, let me think, how many bands has she in? 2. So Ash is currently in Harley Young and the Haymakers and Adele Pickfance and the Chandeliers with me. We've also been in other bands like Go-Go Fish and Hands on Heart together. And yeah, sometimes it's nice to just have an episode where there can be a bit more back and forth and a bit of shit thrown around, a bit of teasing. I do like that. I do like being teased and teasing people. I think I do like getting to that stage of a friendship. It's a nice place to be. I'm going to keep this quick because this is one of those days. Do you have those days where you're just a bit sick of yourself? You're just like everywhere you turn, oh, it's that guy again. So I'll keep it quick. So context for the start of this episode. So when we started, we were just getting some mic levels in the middle of Ash telling me about her girlfriend Cassie going to a camping festival at the Big Pineapple where Tash Sultana was playing. So that's context. Here it is, Ep 50, Gimme Empathy, Ash Shanahan. Are you talking now?
Talking.
Ah, there you are.
There I am.
Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba. Hey. Just give me a loud laugh so I can get a peek.
A loud laugh?
Yeah.
I don't really do. Okay. Ha, 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 ha. Is that, no?
Don't ever laugh like that again.
No.
That's terrifying.
If I do that, you'll know that I've gone insane. Yes.
So how did she like the music? Who was playing again?
Tash Sultana.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. She loved it. She kept messaging me saying, oh my God, it's so bloody amazing. And I'm in love, and she did No Woman, No Cry, or something like that. So she enjoyed that. That's good.
Who else was playing?
She mentioned a band called Ocean Alley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
Who were they?
They're a Triple J band of some description.
I'm guessing it's like a Triple J lineup,
Yeah.
pretty much. But she said that I might like them based off the little knowledge that she has of my musical taste so far.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, Ash, I'm very happy to have you on episode number 50.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Again?
Why are you so... Was there trepidation in that? Mm-hmm.
No, I just love the fact that we got to number 50 and it's... You've achieved so much in such a small amount of time, to be honest.
Have I?
I think you... Yeah. Haven't you produced quite a few episodes since we did the first one?
50, in fact.
Yes, exactly. See? Impressive.
I don't know that doing lots of a thing is necessarily an achievement in and of itself.
Oh, well, I think being able to produce such a large body of work is an achievement in itself.
It is. It's kind of nice to have something to look back on.
Yeah.
And because I think that can be like a big stepping stone towards getting like a creative ball rolling.
Yes. I was reading an article this morning. My mum told me about it, just talking about creativity and art and what constitutes an artist and how do you promote creative thinking. And there was a quote there where action creates stimulation and stimulation does not necessarily create action. So it was basically saying that you have to put in the hard yards, you have to produce multiple works to eventually get to that inspired moment. You can't just wait for inspiration to come across.
Right, yeah.
So it's to be a creative person, you just have to have a constant output of work. So it's impressive that you're continuing to do it and you're getting better at your craft.
Am I?
I think so.
Do you listen to it?
I do.
Sometimes.
On occasion.
There you go. With someone you know.
Depending on the subject matter.
Yeah. I think that's...
Or subject person.
I think that's most people.
Yeah.
They listen if it's someone they kind of know, at least.
Yeah.
Sorry, my throat's raspy.
People, we went out last night and Scott's now worse for wear.
No, and it wasn't a big night, but just getting over a cold as well.
Well, that too, yes.
Yeah, we went out last night to see some bands with Adele, our bandmate. Was that like the first band?
That was our first band bonding experience.
Oh, good.
I think. Except for that time when we rehearsed at her house and she cooked us pizza.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was a good chat.
Frozen pizza, like not from scratch. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten any rehearsal done, probably. I think it's really important for bands to get out and do that.
Oh, definitely. I think that was a great part of Go-Go Fish when we did all go out together.
Yeah.
Just to see how much each of us could drink. to that point where one of us inevitably passed out or was
threw
quite
up in
ill.
a onesie.
Yes.
Not naming names.
But being yelled at on the back of the stairs of Black Bear.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Why are you out here? Well, where else can we go?
Do you want us to throw up inside your venue?
Yes, that was a good night.
So, how long's it been? Like a year and a half since you were first on the podcast?
I guess so.
I was listening to it again yesterday and this morning. Last time we talked about cattle rustling.
Oh, yes.
I've forgotten about that.
Because of the podcast that I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
That was a good episode of that.
We talked about Fallout. So Fallout's a role-playing game, and your special stats are the statistics that your character has that determines like your strength, charisma, intelligence, dexterity, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask, how do you think your special stats have changed since you were last on the podcast?
Okay, sure.
Because at the time you were saying you...
Wait, did I give myself a rating last time?
Not numerically, but you said you were trying to improve some areas, like increase your strength by going to the gym.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, my strength definitely has increased because I continued to go to the gym. And recently I engaged the services of a PT who specializes in powerlifting. So with her help, I'm now learning how to properly do a deadlift and a squat. And eventually, I guess I'm going to do bench press. We're slowly getting there with that one. And she also makes me do assisted pull-ups, which I bloody hate, but it's definitely worth it. So, yes, my strength has increased.
So what kind of, do you have like, is there like a value you can put on that? Like what can you lift or whatever that people who do this would be like, wow, that's great.
Well, most people would probably be like, good for you. Look at what you're doing. I'm really not that strong just yet in comparison to people who obviously have been doing it for a number of years. But coming from a place where I couldn't really do a deadlift properly, and it's now been about 2.5 months, and now I can. And my best so far has been 40 kilos.
What is a deadlift?
So a deadlift is the barbell with bumper weights on either end.
Okay.
And you pick it up from the ground, you stand up straight, and then you bring it back down to the ground. So
where do you, you just...
So you hold it basically in front of you, shoulder width.
With like your arms out, like you're not lifting it over your head or anything?
No, not lifting it over your head.
Right.
You're supposed to keep your arms straight.
Right.
And you're lifting with your legs, your glutes, and you're just holding it up essentially with the back muscles as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So you're supposed to keep your back straight. So you have to like contract your lats to really hold it in place, and you're literally just hinging backwards and forwards. Which my problem is I seem to come across too far, so I sort of circle down, and you're supposed to just go straight up and down. No movement of the bar. The body moves, but the bar just goes up, down. That's the intention. Although I hadn't done it for a couple of weeks, and yesterday's session was not great because I forgot how to use the technique properly. So we had to start again from scratch, but we eventually got there.
Did you find it easy to keep up with gym stuff?
Because I moved from one role at my workplace, which is a different workplace to the one I was at when we did the episode last. I've changed roles within that workplace to something that better suits me time-wise, I can now go back to doing lunchtime workouts. For me, that's my preferred time. I don't like going early in the morning because who really wants to go to the gym early in the morning? And I don't like going in the afternoons after work because everybody seems to go then. Lunchtime, it's also quite busy, but I usually take my lunch break either at 11 or at 1 o'clock, and then usually the machines or equipment that I want to use are free.
So that's strength, and I guess endurance. You'd build endurance with that too.
Yes.
So what?
Not cardiovascular, because I'm not good at that, and I don't do running or anything.
Isn't in the last one you were saying that like doing weights is part of cardio?
Yes, it gives you a cardio workout. It doesn't give you as much, I guess.
Sure,
but
yeah.
it does improve on your cardio. So it has gotten better, but not to any great extent as to what it would be if I was doing running or cycling or anything like that. My body is not designed for that. I'm amazed my body's designed for weightlifting.
What about intelligence? Have you gotten smarter?
Emotionally, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
I know. It's impressive, isn't it? It's what happens when you have a marriage breakup and you become self-reflective in certain ways. And and then you have to sort of become a bit more supportive of yourself and take care of yourself. And I think I've definitely improved emotionally. And I'm still doing my law degree, but due to the circumstances of the breakup, I didn't really study for 2 months. So in that sort of sense, no, not as intelligent, because I had to cram everything within a week and a half of the exam. So while I have some knowledge of what I did, don't ask me.
Right.
Yes.
So your marriage ended last year.
Yes.
And that was a long, long relationship, right?
It was. Yeah, since we were 16. We had a bit of a break when we were around 20, but then we got back together.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. Like since then, like you really picked yourself up very quickly. I think you're a very resilient person, I think, Ash.
Thank you. Although, as with most marriages, there was obviously a period where it kind of started breaking down on both sides. And so in that last year, both of us just weren't in a good place in terms of the relationship anymore. So we had really big highs, really big lows. And I think our minds sort of started turning towards being by ourselves, or at least out of the relationship, much earlier than the actual breakup itself. So I guess in a sense, I kind of saw it coming. Although we were in a relatively good place in my mind at the time of the breakup. So it was a bit of a shock. But could have seen it coming for probably a year or so.
So do you reckon both of you were in some ways somewhat prepared for it to happen?
Well, not necessarily prepared, but we had a feeling it was going to happen. So I think, I don't want to say it was inevitable. I don't ever want to say anything's inevitable. Everything can be changed. But where we were, the path we were taking was leading towards it, I think. Which, relationships end. Well, I was just especially lucky that one lasted for such a long time. I'm
amazed that anyone could be in a relationship that long, especially one that starts when you're teenagers, when you're totally different people.
Yes, definitely. I mean, Rory and I caught up yesterday, and Rory being the ex-husband, and even though, yes, we were totally different people as teenagers, sitting on a couch with him, I can still see that 15-year-old kid that I started going out with. And he could still see the 16-year-old me in a way as well. But yeah, obviously we have morphed into rather distinctive characters separate to what we were when we first started. So,
and I think if any two people were stay together that long, it's almost, it almost has to be a luck thing, doesn't it? What are the odds that you would grow? Okay, so two
Yes.
people get together because, they have shared interests, shared attractions, whatever. Mm-hmm. What are the odds that is going to stay the same, throughout a lifetime? It just seems unlikely to me.
I don't think the odds are even they're not even there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, You're right. It's kind of a luck thing. We're very lucky that we lasted that long. There were a lot of aspects of the relationship that I wish were different, and I'm pretty sure Rory would say the same. But we still want to be friends. I mean, you can't go that long without having some sort of friendship as part of the overall relationship that you have. And we're trying to do that. We're trying to still stay friends, although in the last 6 months there were certain influences on both of us to sort of make that difficult. Obviously, we needed some time apart. You can't just say we're breaking up and then the next week hang out again for like 4 days in a row or something. It would just confuse both of us. So yeah, we needed a period of separation. We're now in a position, I think, where we can sort of spend time together as friends. And I think yesterday proved that. We had a good chat. We grabbed some food from the kitchen of the house that he's living in. And then we played a card game with my ex-housemates, his housemates. And it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good, especially because, you have shared friends. And
Oh, yeah, well, you don't go that long without having shared friends. Yeah, I mean, you're one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I was just thinking the other day, like the Go-Go Fish crew, because I was hanging out with Murray, and I was like, wow, we've all changed so much, just even since the start of the band, which was what, 8 years ago?
Yes.
Like, and
started the band with us 8 years ago.
Yeah, and Ange and Murray were joined another 2 years after that or something.
Yeah, who's counting?
Yeah,
they joined a bit afterwards. There was this period of just us, and that was weird.
And because it was like it was the first band you were in, right?
Yeah.
Apart from like high school band or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
And like I think first rock band Ange was in, maybe Murray's second band or something.
Yeah, because I think he was in a band with his then housemates, but not in the band at that time, but he was previously.
And like I was thinking, like I'm very proud of, especially like you and Murray, who've gone on to like do heaps of other musical stuff with other people. And like, and Ange does music as well, like more, I guess, like just with you and on her own and stuff. But Murray's out there in the bear hunt, like.
Yeah, I'm impressed. He's dedicated. He really does love his music, and it shows.
He's really like on the scene. He's connected to the people.
Yes.
And like, you've done all your solo stuff, and now we're playing with Adele.
I know.
Like if you told me, 7 years ago, oh, here's Ash, she's got drum in your band. It's like, oh, cool. And like in 7 years, you're going to be Adele Pickvance's backing band. That's like, that's out of control.
Well, I mean, if you told me that 7 years ago, I'd be like, who's Adele? But see, I'm one of those, I'm probably the worst musician in Brisbane because I know nothing about bands and music.
That doesn't make you a bad musician.
No. Okay, sorry. A bad musician on the scene. We'll use your terms, on the scene. I know of people through you and now kind of through Adele and through Harley to an extent as well. But I don't go out intentionally to go see bands and to meet people and talk to people. I just, if I'm out with you, hey, I know that person, let's have a chat kind of deal. And
yesterday was good for that too because we went to see the Girls Rock Showcase.
That's right.
Talked to lots of people there.
Yes.
Yeah, and so this week we got to play at the Girls Rock workshop with Adele because they had bands in every day to show the kids this is a band and you can ask them questions and they'll play for you and stuff. What you seem to really enjoy.
I thought it was so much fun. As soon as we walked into the room and there were these 3 drum kits and 3 girls were playing them all at the same time, totally discordant cacophony of noise. But I was like, this is the best fucking thing I have ever heard in my life. Because looking back, I started drumming when I was 13, but I didn't really get the opportunity to necessarily play drums with other young girls or just really play instruments with the other young girls. Because, I mean, the majority of kids who were learning rock music weren't girls. I was a bit of an odd person there. And just the fact that this is not to toot my own horn or anything, but I did AMEB drum kit exam and I was apparently the first girl to get honours in that. And I was sitting there and I'm like, how could that be possible? Aren't there other girls who do this?
Like the first in Australia?
Well, I don't know if it was Australia or Queensland, but it was the first for something.
Wow.
And I'm like, this can't be possible. There should be other girls out there also doing this, also achieving this. It's not too difficult. And if you put your mind to it, which is funny because I chickened out on the day of the second level exam. So why I did not think of that, it's not too difficult line on that day is beyond me. But just seeing young girls playing guitars and drums and writing songs and having fun and being loud and I'd like to say it's probably one of the highlights of my musical career, which is seeing other people playing instruments, which is fun.
It's quite moving, really.
Yeah.
I did musical theatre workshops when I was in high school in the holidays, and there's an element of that in that, you've got a group of kids, they're being supervised, and you're working all week towards a performance at the end.
Yes.
But instead of it being, HMS Pinafore at the end, it's these girls have written their own songs and perform them, and they sound like we saw a bit of the
showcase.
The showcase yesterday, and the songs are in this bizarre outsider art music that only kids could come up with.
Yes, that's right, and they're not bombarded by necessarily the latest sort of sound in the scene as well. So they're coming up with their own ideas. Like it's almost purely, inventive in a way.
It seems like it's such a supportive environment too.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah.
The volunteers are fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're all very talented in their own ways as well. So they're passing on those skills.
One of the things they were teaching I was most impressed with was how to use a PA. Because that's one of the scariest things I think in a band is don't touch the PA, you're gonna blow it up. It's feeding back. I don't know what to do. And they encourage them to go play with it.
Yeah, well the feedback, that's the thing I'm terrified about. I know how to turn people up and down, I know how to put effects on vocals, etc. But when it feeds back, I have no damn idea what to do with it. So one day you could teach me that. Or Ash Curley can if she was the one telling people to play with the PA. Yeah,
I'm sure she would be much better. I would
have liked to have learned how to screen print my own shirt. That was amazing.
Those shirts were incredible.
I would like to get a one-on-one lesson with whoever did that. Whoever's listening to this, if you did that at Girls Rock, you got to hit me up. I want my own shirts. That would be great.
Hands on heart shirts?
No, just ones that say, "Hi, I'm Ash."
Oh, okay.
That'd be kind of fun.
Like Daniel Johnston ones. "Hi, my name is."
yeah, something like that. Or just if lost, please return to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I probably shouldn't advertise where I live on my shirt. Might get some interesting callers.
So would you like do a Girls Rock thing?
As in volunteer for it? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if they need a drummer, they can hit me up. Which is what I told them yesterday. Yeah, those kids were great. And as I keep telling everybody when they ask me about the Q&A part, the best question was, what do you do if you make a mistake? Because when I did recitals for piano and solo stuff for drums, I screwed up big time. I didn't know how to deal with it. I broke down in tears and ran off the stage.
Oh, wow. How old were you?
12, 13. Yeah. And I did not know how to deal with it. And nobody had told me how to deal with it. So that's how I dealt with it. Because I already had social anxiety as a kid. So putting me in front of people, doing a solo piece, and then screwing up, that was how I was going to react. So being able to tell kids, if you make a mistake, you keep going. You improvise, or you take a moment and you pick it up and you just keep moving on with the song.
Or you laugh.
Yeah. Don't draw attention to it or else they'll notice it.
I really like seeing bands that I'm really familiar with, and I can tell when they screw up because I'm really familiar with their music.
Yeah.
And watching them smile and laugh at each other.
Well, that's what I always do when I drop a stick now.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, happens almost every show, so I always have one spare there. And every time I come off the stage, I'm like, oh, I missed this beat, I dropped my stick, I screwed up this fill. no one notices and no one cares. They're like, you're fucking fantastic. What are you talking about? So yeah, that's a very important lesson, I think, for the girls to learn, or for any musician to learn. It's a confidence thing as much as it is a technical aspect. If you screw up.
Yeah, I definitely keep a tally of unforced errors when I'm playing. I think it was okay the other day, actually.
So Scott is like 40 love.
Yeah. Well,
although that's not the unforced errors part of tennis, but we'll just make that reference anyway.
Because like some errors, it's not your fault.
Yes.
Like, if you drop a drumstick and that throws me off, then I would say, that's Ash's fault. I won't wear that one. But if I just fumble, it's like, there you go.
Yep.
That's one.
It's okay. It's not like I keep stats on what you do with errors and how they screw up with me.
Yeah. Unless it affects me, I'm not going to notice if anyone else
Well, that's right.
messes up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like for a while you were a bit off drums, that you weren't really keen to keep playing them.
Yeah, I wanted to try other things. And I mean, because I do play other instruments, so it's good to challenge myself in other ways. Yeah, I kind of felt a little silly when the kids were asking, what instruments do you play? And I'm just in there like, I play drums, I play guitar, I play bass, I can play a bit of keyboard, I sing, and then Adele's like, I play bass.
Adele can also play
she also
guitar
plays other
and
things.
keys
yes.
and mandolin, as we just found out.
Yeah, as we just found out by looking at a Robert Foster CD.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, the difference is, though, it shows that bass is her main instrument because she is so technically proficient and innately talented on that instrument. She could just jump in to any moment and at least pick up the root notes of the chords and also throw in, embellishments where she feels fit and do it perfectly. You can, so that's a huge benefit of having a single instrument to play, because that is your sole instrument. That is your tools, and you know it very well.
I think, though, if you get known for being particularly good in an instrument, that can be dangerous as well, which may be a thing with you and the drums, because you do play a bunch of other things.
Yes.
But if I'm putting together a thing, I would think, I need a drummer. Drummers are hard to find.
They are.
Good drummers are hard to find. So it's like, Ash, she'd be great at this. Which is, but then I was thinking, for a future thing, if I did a Lunar Light Rail launch or something, because I do want to finish off that EP sometime this year.
Yes, that would be good.
I think I would ask you to play something other than drums.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like guitar, I was thinking.
Yes.
You could do the lead lines.
I'll need to either fix up my guitar or borrow one of yours.
Yeah.
Because that pickup doesn't work, apparently.
What pickup?
Remember how you wanted to use my guitar for...
the telly, yeah.
Yeah, the first position pickup.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
For some reason, it's no longer working.
Oh, damn.
I don't... But then when you put it into the middle one, it's fine. But I guess it's probably picking it up from the other. Because it's 2 single pickups, I think. I don't know. I should know what my guitar has, but no. Who cares? I don't.
But so yeah, for a while it seemed like you were reluctant to take up drumming things for a bit. You're dragging your feet a bit about Harley tours. It's like, I don't really want to do that. Do I have to bring my stuff? But now it seems
still like that. I'm like, Harley, I'm not bringing my snare.
But now, it's like when we said, we've got these possible Harley shows for March. Can you do that? You're like, yep. And we've got Adele full speed ahead. You're happy to do the drums with that.
Yeah.
So what kind of changed?
Well, look, I was doing my solo stuff. I was writing songs on the guitar. I wanted to push myself a little bit more in that direction and become just a little bit better. I mean, I'm still not the world's greatest guitarist by any means. Probably the world's greatest mediocre guitarist. But I can do rhythm quite well. So I guess I wanted to focus more on that instead of the drums. But I know where my strength lies. And I know I'm a fucking good drummer sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least I'm definitely good for certain genres. And specifically, these 2 bands fall into that genre of pop rock. So, yeah. And, Harley said he was having a hard time finding a good drummer. If he needs a drummer, I'm happy to have a weekend in Melbourne. But not Hobart. We've clarified that already. Not Hobart.
Why don't you all go back to Hobart?
It costs too much fucking money to go for a weekend.
Yes.
Yes. And so when he put up and Hobart on his announcement for the shows, I'm like, what is this shit? Is this solo? And he's like, yeah, it's solo. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Oh, is he what is this for this year?
Yeah, he's going to do a solo set in Hobart.
Oh, cool.
Or at least that's what he told me. If I've ruined his surprise, I am sorry. Yeah, so I think that was the main reason. Plus, you get sick of lugging around a fucking drum kit.
Oh, yeah, I could never do it.
Yeah, and I've lost my roadie now, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that was all he was good for, but he was a damn good roadie. Yeah.
Do you think Cassie would roadie for you? Is she strong?
I haven't asked her that. Well, she has to pick up children, so probably
Yeah.
stronger than me.
Yeah. So Cassie's the woman you've been seeing recently.
Yes, that's right.
You seem very happy.
Well, yeah, we're in the honeymoon phase.
The limerence period, I believe it's.
Well, that's a very fancy word, Scott. Yes, I'm very happy. Yeah. I don't want to give away too much in terms of, how happy I am. Because you never know what's going to happen, because it's barely been a month. Actually, today I think it's been a month today.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Are you having a 1-month anniversary?
Well, we weren't supposed to see each other, and then she said, do you want to go to Sporties and meet some people and hang out? I'm like, yeah, okay. So we're going to Sporties later to watch a drag show with some friends of hers.
Awesome.
Yes. She's promised that she's going to bring me a clean top, which is good.
Yeah, is that the shirt you were wearing yesterday?
Yeah, because I randomly crashed at my parents' place
that's
last
right.
night.
I have no
I told Mum
memory
that you
for
wouldn't
clothes.
give a damn. So. But she might. Her friends probably wouldn't know unless I told them, hey, I've been wearing the same clothes for 2 days. Yeah, this is the life I lead. Is this what your friend has chosen?
That was one of the things that was really nice, I thought, about last night, like all hanging out together with Adele, was
Yes.
like, as a mature gay woman, like sharing those kind of stories with you.
Yes, I have courted her a couple. Well, courted sounds really bad. When we've had some moments alone, I have asked her for some guidance about stuff, and it's been really helpful, and I do really appreciate it. So, I think I may have told her that, and if not, she'll get the point now.
Yeah, that was really sweet. I just
Yeah.
wish we'd played some Mario Kart before we left Blutz, because I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, you all, as soon as we walked in, you were like, oh my God. Yes, we should have done that.
Adele's good at video games too, or
Is
at
she?
least we played House of the Dead together at Netherworld once. She was really good.
Because she did mention that she goes to Netherworld for drinks after the show.
Yeah.
So,
She's got pinball too.
okay, yeah, props to her. Yeah, I want to play pinball now with her. Next bonding experience.
Yeah.
Netherworld, hit me
Yeah.
up.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
Education-wise, so your law degree is on hold a bit at the moment?
It's not on hold. I'm on break at the moment,
Oh, right, of
which is
course.
probably why I'm having so much fun playing lots of shows and going out everywhere. My mum was a little bit concerned about how I was behaving this weekend. Because when I told her, I went to see Rory, and then we went to the showcase, and then we went out to the Valley for drinks, and then we went to West End, and then I went back to hers, and now I'm here, and then this afternoon I'm at Angela's, and then I'm going to Sporties. My mum's like, are you going to have a break at some point? No, this is just my life.
You're living a full life. I think that's something to be celebrated if you manage to fill your weekend with,
I know.
and these are social and creative things.
Well, yeah, this is what I used to do when, Rory and I were together. Every weekend it was like, okay, I have to go here, then I have to go over here, and then I'm catching up with this person, and I'm getting drinks with these guys. That was pretty much every weekend, which is a miracle that I actually get any study done. This weekend I'm actually feeling like myself for the first time in a long time. Instead of just sitting around the house, watching TV. Not that I don't mind doing that. That's actually quite fun for me to do. But yeah, I'm really getting my extroverted side on this weekend.
I think that's one of the ways you've changed.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. I mean, I keep thinking about how Angela said in her second episode
Yes.
that I was insular in high school. That's a great way to describe me. That definitely was me. Although, in certain ways I wasn't, because I really loved having parties. Every school holidays, I would try to get everyone over because living at the rectory, I basically had free reign of the hall if it wasn't being used on a weekend, if I wanted to. So obviously with parents' permission, my friend Dion and we would get in the car. I would write up these wacky invitations, print off 20 of them, and we would hand deliver them to our friends. We would just take the entire day and drive around Tweed and Mooloolaba in Kingscliff area and just drop off the invites either in the letterbox or to our friends directly. And then it's like whoever can come round, sleep over. We'll go to the beach. We get some drinks. We may sneak in some alcohol. And yes, that did happen, Mum.
But this wasn't like the olden days. You could have just like called these people or even...
Yeah, but it was fun just getting... I had a license, bastard. I wanted to drive.
Was this how you amused yourself in Tweed, just driving around?
Yes. We'd always go. We'd go for drives like every weekend, just for the hell of it. We'd drive down to the beach. There were some pretty windy, steep, narrow roads around some parts of Mooloolaba, and going over because there was a little mountain range between the coast and inland. So between, I think it was Cabarita and going towards Mooloolaba, there was this hill. I can't remember the name of the road, but it was really curvy, really steep. It was a lot of fun to go fast. Kind of dangerous, obviously. But yeah, it was great. I have wonderful memories of driving down this road, probably going 10 Ks over, with Dion and Megan listening to She Will Have Her Way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or Sarah Blasco albums.
Oh, the She Will Have It, like the whole tribute album?
The tribute album.
And not just,
That was like our jam.
So that was the tribute album to the Finn Brothers music by all Australian female musicians. Oh, and a few Kiwis.
Some Kiwis.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a really big album for us to just go driving around Tweed with. And my friend Megan actually, she may or may not dispute this fact, but I'm pretty sure she said that she named her dog after Charlie.
Oh, the Split Enz song Charlie.
Yeah, but the version on She Will Have Her Way.
Specifically that one.
Yeah, that was her favourite song.
Was that Beck Runga?
No, Beck Runga did, maybe she did do Charlie.
Or Sophie Coe.
Yes, that was it.
Yes.
Pretty sure it was Sophie Coe who did that one. Do love that song. Such a fucking good song. Yeah. I've got the greatest hits of Split Enz in the car, and it's got a live version of it.
Of Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. When Tim gets, like, it's such
haunting.
Haunting, theatrical, emotional
especially at
song.
The very end, when he does the first verse again to the reprise.
And he slows it down. Wake up.
Yeah. Oh, it's so disturbing. And yet so romantic. And you don't know exactly what's happened. Like, is it a same-sex relationship or is it a straight-sex relationship? There's rumors and people sleeping around, and
because it's kind of a murder ballad, isn't it?
It's a passionate crime that he's basically murdered his friend, lover, whatever.
I can't remember if I actually read this or if I just made it up, but I thought like part of the interpretation of the song was that it was a bit metaphorical of Tim Finn's relationship with Phil Judd, who was the other co-founder of Split Enz. And he was like the Sid Barrett figure of the band in that he was always the absolute weirdest one, and he just went off the rails.
In an art house rock band. Oh my God.
Yeah. He just went off the rails after a few albums and and that's why they got Neil into it, because they needed a guitar player.
That's right. Yeah.
I think Phil Judd's story got real dark recently. Like in the last 5 years or something, I thought he got like caught watching kids outside of school or something in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
But I think he had a lot like long-term serious mental health problems after Split Enz. Yeah.
Quite possibly.
But I heard that Charlie was possibly about him in the way that like Wish You Were Here was about Sid Barrett.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your favourite song of that cover
or
tribute album?
Yeah, Charlie was a great one.
Yes.
Let me grab it.
Well, Scott does that. I think my favourite was Distant Sun. But that's because that's probably my favourite of Crowded House's songs. Of on the original or the cover? Because she did omit that line about Christian fearing vengeance from above. But she said that was because she was a Christian. Although really, it's a metaphorical thing. It's not a comment on Christianity necessarily. The original's also probably my favorite Crowded House. Although in saying that, It's Only Natural is just wonderful.
Sorry, I was talking to Ash a bit off mic there. We were debating. Okay, so I have here now She'll Have Her Way, the songs of Tim and Neil Finn.
Yes.
We were talking about Brooke Fraser's cover of Distant Sun, which I don't like because, firstly, it doesn't really do much too different to the original.
Oh, well, it puts it up in a different key because she needs to sing it.
Yeah, but
Apart from
arrangement-wise, it's not very different.
Yes.
And I like covers that are more different than that. And second, she omits the line, like a Christian fearing vengeance from above. It's just a gap in the song. She just stops singing for that bit.
Yes.
Because I guess she was offended about the lyrics because she was
We
Christian.
don't pretend to know what she wanted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to do it. You're lucky I didn't actually sing the line.
So, like, if you don't like that line in the song, don't do that song. Pick another one.
I mean, there's so many. The catalogue is wide ranging. I think I also really liked One Step Ahead because I like Amiel's stuff. I really loved Another Fucking Love Song. I thought that was fantastic when that came out. And her album was relatively good considering it was a debut. But yeah, her version of One Step Ahead is quite different to the original.
It's dancey and it makes sense for Amiel.
It does.
Yeah.
It's definitely in her vein. Although I should have probably have said Holly Throsby.
Yeah, I was going to say Throsbo's on here, Not the Girl You Think You Are.
Yes.
Which is just classic Throsby.
Yes.
Let's see, we've got Fall at Your Feet by Claire Bowditch. That's okay, I think. Oh, Stuff and Nonsense by Missy Higgins.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
That's a great one.
Yeah, I take it back. That's my favorite one. That's the most beautiful version of it.
Little Birdie with 6 Months in a Leaky Boat. That was pretty good.
Yes, that was a classic.
Casey Chambers, Better Be Home Soon. That was good.
That was good.
Blasco, Don't Dream It's Over.
That was done at the Olympics. So
New Buffalo, 4 Seasons in One Day.
very New Buffalo.
Yeah, all good. And then a few years later,
let's not talk about this
they
one.
come out with He Will Have His Way, all blokes covering Neil and Tim Finn songs. Didn't like this one nearly as much.
No, I didn't really think this one pushed the envelope at all.
I think I had that Boy and Bear cover of Fall at Your Feet that got ridiculously high in the Hottest 100.
Was that a version? Or?
Yeah, it was. Glenn Richards, She Got Body, She Got Soul. That's an obscure pick, but a pretty good version. Paul Dempsey did Addicted. I can't remember that.
I don't really remember this one at all. I did give it a couple of listens and really didn't think it cut it. And then there was the two versions of
Better Be Home Soon.
Yes.
So there was
Busby
Maru did one, and then the Sleepy Jackson violated that song.
Was it Sleepy Jackson or Luke Steele?
The Sleepy Jackson,
Oh, God.
which was probably by that stage
essentially Luke
just Luke Steele. Yeah. Yeah, no, He Will Have His Way. No, it was good. Did you see the live show they did at QPAC?
Yes.
That was one of that gig.
I remember
was
that. That was
awesome.
great.
Yeah. And it combined.
Blasco did My Mistake.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Wait. Was that at that or was that at one of her shows?
No, I think that was at the.
It was at the tribute.
Yeah. So they combined.
That was good.
They rounded up artists from both she and He Will Have Their Way albums, and they did a live tour. And I think my favorite on that was Distant Sun, because that was like all my favorite people. It was like Paul Dempsey, Sarah Blasco, Sally Seltman, Claire Bowditch.
I know.
On the one thing.
It was
all
like the
taking
perfect
verses.
lineup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And doing such an iconic tribute. And, that was a bloody good concert, that one. Yeah.
This has been our Finn Brothers Appreciation Corner.
Oh, if we were going to talk about anything, that's a very good topic to talk about.
Did you hear Neil and Liam Finn's album from last year?
No, but I do know that they did something because I saw promotional pieces saying how they never had worked together until this point in time.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's the first time they did a whole album together and called it Neil and Liam Finn.
Yes.
But I mean, Liam's been playing in Neil's band since he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like you can see him on TV shows in the 90s.
Chops from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally thought the album was a bit too much Liam-y.
Really?
Yeah, like a bit odd and wacky in a way.
Yeah,
And like
he does push it a bit further, doesn't he?
And Neil can be wacky in his own way, but I think, yeah, I know.
You're going to go wacky. Tim's probably a better, well, in my opinion.
See, people have said this, like, but I
It's not
think
necessarily wacky, sorry. It's more experimental, more in-depth.
I don't understand when people say this, like,
No?
because I think Tim relatively started that way, like in Split Ends.
Well, yeah.
Which was a wacky band, but even in
Yes.
that, he was more the creative straight man to Phil Judd, I think. But then throughout Split Ends, and then in their solo careers, I thought Neil's a much more experimental musician than Tim is.
Okay, all right. Here is when I admit in the Finn Brothers Appreciation Hour that I haven't listened to much of their solo stuff. I do have some of the things that you've given me, and I should probably read your album collection again. In fact, I will do that straight after this. I need to stop listening to this garbage album that I've had in the car because I've gone through a bit of a revival period with garbage again. Because
When are you not in a garbage revival period?
Screw you. You gotta stay dedicated to the things that you love.
This was funny at Girls Rock because one of the questions they asked us was, what's your favorite band? And Adele and I were like, that's such a difficult question. Oh, like at the moment, what time period, what genre?
Yeah.
And Ash was instantly like, Garbage and the B-52s. Never changes.
It never changes. War and Ash's favorite bands never changes. And who was the person who was saying that was a surprise answer? Somebody said that to us yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
That was a surprise answer. I never asked why. Why is that a surprise answer? Do I not look like a person who likes garbage? I'm wearing a garbage shirt, for fuck's sake.
Oh, is that garbage shirt?
Yeah, it says garbage on the back and this is a G.
Oh, okay. It's like all bones arranged in a
this
G.
is why I loved it.
Right.
It's essentially bird bones or bird skeletons arranged in their Times New Roman G that they have in things. Yeah, I was a little surprised about that. It's probably not what they were expecting from a local Brisbane artist.
Do you think garbage are not considered cool?
Yeah, probably. Well, not necessarily cool, but they're not necessarily as relevant as they used to be in terms of, the now sound. And they're also not as well known as what they used to be. They've become a bit more obscure as they've gotten older.
Yeah.
And also because now that they've been releasing stuff on their own label, finally, they don't have as much of a promotional push behind them or as great a distribution. Although in saying that, I have seen the latest album in most record stores. Not all of them, but most of them.
It is kind of funny how some bands age and like they keep with the zeitgeist like that. And I don't think it's an accident usually. I think some bands are really good at maintaining their own mythology.
And their own relevance.
Yeah, like for example, another favourite band of yours, Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, yes.
Like, I don't know who actually continues to listen to new Smashing Pumpkins albums, but they're still very much like a go-to band for like teenagers and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
And because Billy's always out there saying something
controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think for a lot of musicians, they go through that period of the early 90s. A lot of them do. I mean, Nirvana's always going to be a reference point for many, many people. And if you're going to look at Nirvana, you then also go into Pearl Jam. You then also go into Savage Garden. You go into Soundgarden.
Did you say Savage Garden?
Shit, I did too.
I don't think Pearl Jam is a common jump-off point to
I'm
Savage
tired.
Garden.
Ignore. Forgive me, people.
Soundgarden. Okay.
Soundgarden. I got into Savage Garden, but then again, I was like 11 at the time. And then they go into other bands, like Alice in Chains. Yeah. It's funny because it doesn't matter what stage of your musical career or interest that you get into it. You always go back to those bands. Like Angela didn't listen to them straight up, but a couple of years ago she got really into Alice in Chains.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, you got there. You got there. I mean, she listens to all this other awesome musical stuff and has always done so. But then she finally sort of started revisiting the bands that I got into at a very early age. Yeah, because I got into Nirvana and Stone Temple, and Stone Temple was a huge thing for me in high school.
What was it about them?
I don't know. Probably how weird Scott was. Yeah. Because he, they were a fairly typical grunge rock band at the time. Although not coming from the Seattle area, they, similar sort of sound, even though they were coming from wherever the fuck they came from. San Diego? San Fran? Southern California. Yeah, so they were a typical rock band, and then they were fronted by Scott Weiland, and it's just, he was up there on stage with giant sunnies and feather boas and dyed his hair pink, and then he got into like cocaine and shit, and then he lost a lot of weight, and then he was standing there on stage with very tight, I want to say leather, but I think they were like polyvinyl pants because they were very shiny, and no top. And he was skinny as hell, big sunnies, no top on, very shiny tight pants, so flamboyant, and yet he was the straightest guy. I mean, he was not the world's greatest partner. He was done for a lot of DV stuff, and I think that was probably because of his abuse, his drug and alcohol abuse. But yeah, he just had a very creative persona. And also they also just had really good grooves and really good riffs as well. In certain songs it was just like, hell yes.
Do you think his on-stage outfits and presence and stuff had any influence on your current love of drag?
I don't know. I mean, you could probably say the same thing about the B-52s because they got on stage all, op shop clothing, but they sort of sculpted it into stage characters. I mean, the girls walked around with hair as short as mine, which is, almost a pixie cut bob thing.
It's not that. It's probably like halfway to shoulder length at the moment.
Okay.
Or something.
All right. So I don't know how to describe my hair. That's great. But yeah, they had very short hair and they would just wear typical op shop basic clothing. But then they'd get on stage and they'd have very colourful dresses, hair as high as, heaven pretty much almost. And Fred would dress up in these ridiculously garish shirts. And in his early stages, he would dress up in very big, fancy-looking, colourful suits and draw on a pencil mustache. And then later on, like when I've seen them, he's always got a feather boa wrapped around his neck. And he's like, it's very out and proud, gay 70-year-old man wearing feather boas. And
he's 70?
Yeah, they are in their 70s.
Oh my God. How old were they when they were started?
When they started actually doing stuff, they were 27-ish and Kate was 32.
Wow.
And, so the three guys were 27, Kate was 32, and Cindy, I think, was 24 or 25.
Right.
That was when they first got together. Obviously, they've been playing since then. It's, 40 years, because I think they got together the same year my parents got married, and this year was their 40th anniversary, and I still forgot to wish my parents that. Oh, I'll have an opportunity at some point. They ain't going nowhere. Yeah. So, yeah, they'd be about 60, 70.
Wow. I had no idea they were that old. Have you ever wanted to have stage outfits like that?
In a sense, yes, but I've never been in a position to really pull it off.
Well, what about this new project you've got with Ange?
Could do. We're still trying to figure out how to actually record and or perform songs with the one synthesizer that we have.
Right, yeah.
That is about yay big. And when I say yay big, it's about 30 centimeters in length. It's really quite a small, it's like a mini Korg?
Micro Korg?
Micro Korg.
Yeah.
Yes. We need to get at least one other instrument so that one of us is doing something else, because we're trying to do everything on a synth or synths. So even though we write songs on guitar and ukulele, we're not going to play those. That's the intention. And we need to get a drum machine.
Yeah. Well, could one of you just like be the front person and just sing?
Well, I think Angela is going to do that anyways.
Right, yeah.
Which is fine with me. I mean, she's written most of the songs, but we're arranging them together. So we could probably do a stage persona such as that.
What would your stage name be?
Oh, a stage name. I seriously cannot come up with anything. Something to do with Ash. Kind of my stage name's already Ash anyways, because that's not my actual name. And I use that on all the recordings and the performances. It's just easier. I guess Ash Shanahan is probably going to be my stage name for a while anyways. Because if I change my name back, I'm still going to use it as a stage name. So.
Oh, right. Okay. So if you did change it back, like when the divorce comes through,
yeah,
like why would you not also use it?
I've gotten used to my name. Surprise, surprise. It's your name is something that you get used to. I probably won't even change it back. I like the name Shanahan. I really do, and I think it does fit in with my first name. Probably a bit better than Stevens ever did. And I'm saying that only because Aisling and Shanahan are Irish and they fit together.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Yeah. Whereas Aisling Stevens doesn't. I mean, I'm used to it because I grew up with it, but it doesn't really fit as much, I think.
You could do what my mum did after her first divorce and make up a new surname.
That's what some of my friends suggested. Angela suggested Sparkleface.
That's a very Ange suggestion.
I'm pretty sure it was Angela. Or was it Libby? One of the two. One of them said Sparkleface, but then another one said only if you pronounce it Spackleface. And I'm like, yes, Ms. Spackleface if you're nasty.
Like the doctor on Scrubs.
What was that?
Dr. Beardface on Scrubs. He was like, it's pronounced Beardface.
Beardface. Yeah, so yeah. Aisling Sparkleface.
Well, what else have you got on this year? Apart from, so we're hopefully doing some recording for Adele Pickvance and the Chandeliers.
And we're doing some shows with Harley Young and the Haymakers.
Yeah, well, they'll probably be the last ones, I expect. Because he's got the Melbourne band up and,
well, the last
he's getting
of
it
the
up and
Melbourne
running.
Shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing the Brisbane ones.
Mm.
So what's on for the rest of the year for me? Study, work, hopefully still having a wonderful girlfriend. Yeah. The only major plan that I have is I'm going to take a week off in July to go see my grandma for her birthday. And then I'm going to come back and go to a legal conference up here because it's in an area that I would like to eventually practice in if I could. So that's an elder abuse conference. And it's being put on, for lack of a better word, put on by an organisation that I think is a very important one, which is the ADA. It's Aged and Disability Australia, or Disability Care Australia. I can't remember if it's one or the other, but it's called ADA. They do a lot of public awareness, specifically aimed at the elderly about their legal rights, their healthcare rights, their financial rights, being on the lookout for any sort of financial or elder abuse. They do workshops on enduring power of attorney, advanced healthcare directives, etc. And they're an advocacy group as well, so they also lobby governments and also other organisations for more awareness in that area of aged care, disability care, elder abuse, legislative amendments, financial grants, etc. So I think it's a wonderful organisation. It's one of my favourite ones. And I actually know the CEO because he's on one of the committees at my workplace. Ah. So we've had a couple of good discussions about things in that regard. So yeah, so I'm going to go to that. And that's basically it.
And your grandma, so where's your grandma live?
My grandma lives in Taree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She is 92 this year. So she's going okay, I think. She's still driving, which is kind of scary. She will not give up that license. We'll have to pry it from her cold fingers.
Is she like Bob Lord? Is she like a legend in Taree? Like, does she wake up every morning and split wood?
No, she doesn't do that. She's probably like a mainstay of Taree. She worked at the high school where my mum went to. I don't think mum really enjoyed the fact that my grandma was the office admin for the principal.
Oh, so whenever your mum got in trouble, she'd have to go sit in front of her mum.
Yeah, that's right. And And she was working at the high school for quite a long time, 50 years or something. So a lot of people in town know her. And she goes to a whole heap of interest groups. She goes to the University of Third Age, which is for people over the age of 50 or seniors or something. And it's essentially like a community college kind of deal. So they do like 6-week courses on how to play ukulele or how to do gardening or come along and play Scrabble every week, that sort of thing. So she does that. She used to do patchworking and knitting and sewing, but she had to cut back on quite a lot of groups because she was just out all the time and getting really tired and stressed. So, yeah. But she still gets out a lot. It's funny watching her drive because she drives 20 Ks under the limit sometimes.
Oh, well, better than 20 Ks over.
Well, that's true, except when you're on a single lane road and it's 80 K and you're going to a small coastal town where there's a, local festival on. So there's about 20 cars behind you and they're all going 60 in an 80 K zone because of the 90-year-old lady in the front seat. And it's funny too because when she parks, she gets out and she goes to the back of the car, to the boot. That's what I'm trying to say, the boot. And she pulls out her walker. And she sort of struggles to get it out of the boot, but she gets it out of the boot eventually. And then she slowly walks into the shops. And then she comes back, she puts the walker back in the boot, gets in the car, zooms out of the car park. I love my grandma. She's really cool.
Sounds like she's still very independent.
Yes, she is starting to admit that she's having a bit of trouble though, which worries my mum a little bit because obviously we live up here, my parents and myself. My sister lives in Canberra and my uncle lives down near Newcastle, Hunter Valley. So he's in the best position if something happened. He's about an hour and a half away, but still that's an hour and a half away. And so if she has a bad fall, none of us would really be able to get to her quickly.
Does she have one of those buttons around her neck?
I think she does now.
Yeah.
Yeah. She refused to get one for a while, but I think at the insistence of everyone, she gave in and said, sure, okay, I'll get it. Just for your peace of mind so you will stop bugging me. Yeah.
You should, I don't know, well, I would recommend, if you're going to see an elderly grandma, you should, talk to her and, record it on your phone.
I should do that. Yeah. Although it would probably be about, have you got enough food? I've got stuff frozen in the fridge.
I mean, talk to her about her life and stuff.
Oh.
Just so you've, got that for the future.
Yeah, okay. All right. I might do that while I'm down there. She probably will be like, that's a really stupid idea, Ash. Why are you wanting to do that? you know my story. Why do you want to record it? Because, I mean, she would probably say that her life hasn't been that eventful, considering she's lived in the same town for over 60 years, probably 70 years almost.
Well, she's probably got all those Goodwood, Cedar Valley kind of weird small town stories.
Probably, yeah. You've got a point. We never know what's inside their heads until we actually ask them. Yeah, okay. And then I could give you the audio and then you could put it on your podcast.
Well, no, then you make your own podcast.
Oh, I can make my own podcast with blackjack and hookers. In actual fact, forget the podcast.
Ash, thanks for being on my podcast again.
You're very welcome.
Do you want to play a song?
Oh, shit, I was supposed to... Yeah.
I have guitars and stuff.
You do have guitars and stuff.
I always felt bad because it didn't occur to me the first time I had you on that I should get guests to play songs. And
that was like the 5th episode in when you started doing it, so it's okay.
No, it was the 2nd with Murray.
Oh, was it?
And he didn't even have a song to play. He just jammed some stuff.
Oh.
So I always felt bad that you didn't get the opportunity to play a song. So
I'm miffed.
You can play a song now.
Okay, sure. Let's get a guitar.
All right, so what song are you going to play, Ash?
Okay, so this one is a song that I wrote when I started having a bit of a mental breakdown. Because I like writing songs about my inner workings of my brain, and it also helped me to process my thoughts at the time. So this one is called Cracking. There's a tightrope in my head and I'm about to fall off into the abyss below, wavering to and fro, questioning what I know. I'm gonna read every book I can grab till I find some way to express this pounding in my chest. Until then I can't rest. They say you've got to do your best. Hold me tight right now. The earth feels like it's cracking, and the people standing all around possess the strength that I'm lacking. Connections to the real world are starting to wear thin. When your hands and mine touch, it sparks an electric rush, but it's no longer enough. And the sunset on the river looks dimmer every day. Fading light washes clean the remnants of my teens. They float away with the stream. They say you've got to show you're keen. Hold me tight right now. The earth feels like it's cracking, and the people standing all around possess the strength that I'm lacking. Hold me tight right now. The earth feels like it's cracking. The road to happiness is paved with good suggestions, restraint, compulsion, unchecked consumption, healthy repulsion, intense immersion, and you. There's a tightrope in my head and I'm about to fall off into the abyss below, wavering to and fro, questioning what I know. Well, giving in is letting go. Hold me tight right now. The earth feels like it's cracking, and the people standing all around possess the strength that I'm lacking. Hold me tight right now. The earth feels like it's cracking.
Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Scott.
If you want to hear more of Ash's music, her solo project Hands on Heart has a full album and a couple of singles up on Bandcamp, including the full studio version of that song, Cracking. Ash and I are going on tour soon as part of Harley Young and the Haymakers, launching our second album, Little Songs for Big People, fronted, of course, by Harley Young, previous guest of the podcast. You can catch us on March the 2nd in Melbourne at the Grace Darling Hotel, March the 15th in Brisbane at Black Bear Lodge, March 16th at Ipswich at Golby's Basement, and March 17 in Nambour at the Bison Bar. So these will be the last shows for Harley Young and the Haymakers in our Brisbane-based configuration. Harley and Philip are living in Melbourne, the rest of us in Brisbane. He now has a new band in Melbourne. I met them recently and they are very lovely people, and I can't wait to see them play some of those familiar songs. But so yeah, if you want to see us in Harley's band, this is probably going to be the last chance you're going to get. So get along to them. And also, all those Queensland dates are also going to be with one of my other bands, We All Want To. We are also launching our album. It's a double album launch mini tour. So come see them if you like. Corrections and then notes and things. Ash's Telly. Ash's electric guitar is a Mexican-made 2015 Fender Standard Telecaster. It has 2 single-coil Standard Telly pickups. The dangerous windy road between Cabarita and Murwillumbah is Clothier's Creek Road. Phil Judd, who founded the band Split Enz with Tim Finn and left in 1978 before they made it really big, was convicted in 2009 of stalking 3 girls who lived near his home in Melbourne, receiving a 12-month suspended sentence and a $2,500 fine. The following year, he served 2 weeks in jail after violating a restraining order by sending an email to his ex-wife in the midst of a custody dispute over their son. There is a very thorough article about Judd's troubled history, post-Split Enz, by Tim Hume, published in the New Zealand Sunday Star Times in March 2010, titled Phil Judd, Fallen Idol. That is an excellent read if you're at all interested in Split Enz and its former members. The Split Enz song Charlie, was it about Phil? Well, in 1977, Tim Finn gave an interview to Sounds magazine in which he said, "It's about a man who kills his wife and sings to her in the morning, but the mood of it came from Phil leaving. It felt like a death." So, kind of. According to several conflicting sources, the members of Stone Temple Pilots may have met in Long Beach, California, but they more or less got their start as a band further south in San Diego. Thank you for listening to episode 50. Special thanks if you've made it through all 50 episodes. Well done. You get a gold star. And we're on Instagram at Gimme Empathy Podcast. Email gimmeempathypodcast@gmail.com. All that stuff. Stay stay changing. Stay changing. Don't stay the same. Unless you're perfect. In which case, don't change anyway.